Hello and welcome to Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the most important Porsche of the upcoming years, the electric Macan. Still a prototype and still roughly an estimated half year away from the world debut. I'm allowed to give you a first insight into the electric SUV, the sister model of the Audi Q6 e-tron. So if you want to know all the details, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you more about it. But before we hit the road, let's just take a short look at size and shape of the vehicle. And it's unmistakably, it is a Macan. It has not changed too much, it's just modernized, it's a little sleeker than before, so more aero efficient, better for the range and better for the looks as well. It grew a little in size, especially the wheelbase is bigger than before. That gives room for a bigger battery and more room for the rear seat occupants. Trunk space is ample and Porsche is not sticking with the trunk at the back. As it's used to now for an electric car, we also have a decent frunk. It opens with a remote control, all the hood goes up and you have ample space there, not only for the charging cable. But hey, it's a Porsche, we don't talk about design only. We're talking about driving, about fun on the road, and that's what we're gonna test now. So come on, join me on my first ride. So finally we're driving the electric Macan and it feels like a Macan should feel, but just back from the gym. The Macan has always been the most agile, the most dynamic, the most aggressive compact SUV, and the electric version is just topping that once again. It's starting there where the conventional Macan has ended, meaning even the base model will have driving figures better than the top model before. And here we're sitting in the top model of the Macan electric. I would suggest it will be called the Turbo in the future. And we're having 450 kilowatts, or in old currency 600 horsepower. We have more than 1,000 Newton meters of torque. We have an acceleration from 0 to 100 in much less than 4 seconds and a top speed way above 250 kilometers per hour. So it feels more like a sports car than an SUV when you floor the pedal and your head bangs against the headrest with every kickdown. Another reason for that sports car feeling is the seating position. You're sitting roughly 2 centimeters lower than in the conventional Macan, even if you sit on a big battery. And that's only one point in the perfect geometry Porsche has found for the driver. Seating position, steering wheel itself, all really perfect, driver focused and great fun to drive. I haven't driven too many electric SUVs with a steering of this precision, of this feedback and of that fun and engagement. This is the most sporty SUV in its segment, so there is definitely no chance to mistake the Macan for an Audi. They're really separated and have different characters, but nevertheless they're sharing the same technology. Formerly we had MQB in the conventional world and MEB in the electric world. Now we're having the first cars on the PPE, Premium Platform Electric, a joint development from Audi and Porsche. A new skateboard architecture with state-of-the-art software, with state-of-the-art batteries, with new motors, with an 800-volt system, and in this case a battery of roughly 100 kilowatt hours of capacity, translating to a range of more than 500 kilometers and a very good usability due to very high charging power. 270 kilowatts is what Audi is planning for, and once you plug it in you will have 4 to 5 minutes for an additional 100 kilometers of range, meaning you have to drink your espresso pretty fast to get rid of it even faster if you want to make it back to the charger in time. While Porsche is pretty open when it comes to technology, they are pretty tight-lipped when it comes to design. The exterior is not very much camouflaged anymore and you can see a Macan as it should be: sporty, aggressive, dynamic and self-confident, just a little sharper than the outgoing model and just a little bigger as well. but in the interior there is nothing to be shown right now. I can see everything and I can describe it, I just can't show it to you. But you don't have to have much fantasy. Take a look at the Taycan or at the new Panamera and you get a rough idea of the degree of digitalization that is realized in the Macan as well. Meaning we have a digital cluster instrument for the driver, we have a big screen next to it, and for the first time in the segment for a Porsche we have a passenger display as well, which is, by the way, running and fully operational while driving, because the driver's view is blocked to the screen, so you will not be distracted. We have a huge center console here, which is pretty light and pretty open, so you have lots of storage capacity since you don't have any gearbox in there anymore or any torque tubes or stuff like that to go to the rear axle. So making use of the space, and since the wheelbase is also a bit increased, it looks like the car is much more roomier on the back seat as well. There has been slight criticism to the conventional model that it's not a fully four-seater on a long journey. This car definitely should be usable for a longer journey for 4 adults or even with 5 people on the back seat on short stints in the city. Another point where Porsche is pretty tight-lipped is when it comes to pricing and to starts of sales. They have learned that the development was not that easy. Too many parts of the big group were talking into. We had some software problems with CARIAD, you know all that. But that means Porsche is pretty cautious when it comes to specific datelines. So the only official statement is the car will hit the roads within the year 2024. But I would say they would be good advised if they bring it right in time to start your summer holidays and to prove if it's really an everyday usable car. For sure you have to pay a little more than before. The actual Macan starts roughly at 70,000 euros. You have more features, you have the battery, for the first time ever you have, for example, a rear wheel steering. That all will increase the price, but on the other hand, electric mobility at Porsche until now starts with roughly 95,000 euros for the Taycan. Definitely this car will be much cheaper. So if you have the 70,000 euros entry price for the Macan, 95,000 euros entry price for the Taycan, let's meet in the middle and go roughly 80, end of 70,000, and we have a good estimate for the price tag of the electric Macan. Thanks for joining me on that first drive with the prototype of the electric Macan. For sure the most important model of Porsche in the upcoming years. Yes, the 911 is great for the image and for the positioning of the brand, but this car makes the change for the sports car company. Porsche has claimed to sell 80% electric vehicles towards the end of the decade, and that will only work if the Macan works. And after driving the prototype, I'm damn sure this car will work. And Porsche is so confident that they even stopped production of the conventional model in mid-2024, at least for Europe. For the rest of the world, you can have your choice. In Europe, electric is the only way to go in the midterm future. Thank you, 谢谢, 再见, and goodbye.